Eastleigh Manga back in with another YouTube video, and today we'll be covering Tokyo Ghoul. I do not wish to cover Tokyo Ghoul Re in this video. I will be covering Tokyo Ghoul Re maybe in a separate video if the time comes. So today I would actually like to say how awesome of a series Tokyo Ghoul is. I first got initiated into it when I watched it, but then I just knew I had to have it in my manga collection. And one of the things I really like about it, even besides the story or anything like that, as you can see, they are in the VizSig editions. I just think the VizSig editions are a little bit bigger than your traditional volume standards, as I've showed once or twice. I might go ahead and do it again, but it just makes for a better reading experience, especially if you have a touch bigger hands. And before I actually go into Tokyo Ghoul's story, I would actually like to give some honorable mentions to at least like 6 characters who I thought were amazing in the story. So first up, we have Uta, which is known as the Mask Maker, and I just, first off, aesthetically, he is amazing. The character is obviously well written and stuff like that, but I mean, just off looks alone, he has it. Might even pull up the volume later on to showcase how much I actually appreciate this character in this series. Next up, I would like to do Kaneki for the regression in his humanity, because I felt like that was a very interesting concept that came across in the story. Next up, we have Toka, and I loved the moment where she showcased her wings, and the girl thought it was beautiful, but she didn't think so, and so she ran off into like the top of the building. And so I thought that was a beautiful moment because it almost kind of showcased like a little bit of insecurity, but it was beautiful nonetheless. Next up, I wanted to do Hinami, which she experienced kind of death real young, and she just had a terrible experience with it all, but she still made the best of it and always being a light in the darkness. Next up, I would want to do Juzo, the Scythe Slayer. Still a kid in a sense, but definitely deadly with that weapon. And in a sense, a little bit off the rails. And next up, and last but not least, we have Mado, which he really gave off that mad scientist vibe to a T. And another thing that I'd like to note is that he could really showcase that sometimes humans could be more of the monsters than the monsters themselves. I think now I will get into the story dialogue and what we are about to get into in this interesting story of ghouls and a kind of a darker outlook on society as a whole. And let's get into it. Shy Kin Kaneki is thrilled to go out on a date with a beautiful Rise, but it turns out that she's only interested in his body, in eating it, that is, when a morally dubious rescue transformed him into a half-human, half-ghoul hybrid. Ken must survive ghoul turf wars, learn more about ghoul society, and master his new powers. I felt like this was a good panel to showcase some of the dark and depressing feelings that Ken Kaneki would go through as he experienced his transformation from a normal life of once being human to now being half ghoul. The eye transformation, the hunger transformation, even at parts, willing to harm himself in the very beginning just to see. So, definitely, as I mentioned earlier, that regression in humanity really piqued my interest in the sense of the story, and especially in the sense of our main character. And it only kind of piqued my interest even more once you get into the areas with Jason and other crazy psychotic ghouls that you get to see throughout the series. And how a lot of the ghouls actually are partially interconnected, whether it be through the turf wars or sometimes they just know each other through, I'd say, just like I said, the turf wars, but it would also be like certain ghouls had certain territories, almost like hunting grounds, so they knew not to go into each other's hunting grounds, or the stronger would easily take out the weaker ghouls. very interesting in the sense of power scaling and powers. I believe that the Kagune was a definitely unique aspect to, I'm not going to say anime and manga as a whole because there was kind of powers already like that, but I feel like artistically and color-wise, they were very vibrant and exciting to watch, especially throughout the fight scenes in the manga. But in the anime, they are just done up to a T. And not to mention, with a good kind of fighting dynamic throughout the series, you had a compelling story to keep you interested as Kaneki kind of regressed, as he got more accustomed to the ghoul lifestyle, and as we get to figure out that there is organizations that actually hunt ghouls, and more or less like the police department of ghouls. And those were very interesting people. For me, as I mentioned, two of them, Juzo and Mato, were very unique concepts. Um, Not only did I think that most people in Tokyo Ghoul had a very interesting and unique aesthetic, I would like to say some of the negative things. I did think that not everybody had the best backstory, and I feel like some of the things that they did with the story of Tokyo Ghoul, they could have done better. I felt like we all wanted to see Toka and Kaneki ship together, but you know, they were just kind of made out to have like 2, 3 scenes together that kind of had emotional impact, and not really the most though. Like the buildup was there, but nothing really happened between them. And I feel like it's kind of depressing on my end because, you know, I really wanted them to kind of be together and just see Kaneki kind of come back to a semblance of humanity. But I feel like that never really happened, as we see throughout the story. He kind of interesting regresses, as I like to put it, and actually becomes a new person because of all the trauma that he had been dealt. At least from my perspective, that's how I perceive the story to be, especially once he gets inducted into the Special Agency Ghoul Task Force, and along those lines. And that's more in the back half of the story and getting into Re and stuff like that. But I felt like those were some of the things that I personally wish the story would have done better. Um, Complaints, but I mean, it's not really the biggest thing. I feel like it is still a very artistically, des- beautifully artistically designed manga and story. I think that the story, yes, it has personal flaws with me. I still found it very compelling and a good read, good pacing and stuff like that. Characters, pretty decent, as I said. Some of them could have had better backstories, but the ones that did have really great backstories personally kind of makes up for it for me. Overall, thoughts and opinions, I feel like it is definitely high rated on my manga collection. Not at the tippy top, but not necessarily at the the below on the bottom either. Um, I feel like that's a pretty good wrap up of my thoughts and opinions. Um, Price range. I got Tokyo Ghoul the box set when it first came out, so I feel like prices have definitely come down since then, and I feel like a lot of us have seen it. So maybe if I got you interested enough, maybe the prices are right to go pick up one or both box sets in the near future. And in the sense of pricing, the box set that I got was around 150. I might have got it for cheaper, but that is the average listed price for the box set. And I believe Tokyo Ghoul Re might be along the same pricing, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. And so now I think I'll end it here, and East Slave Manga back in with another YouTube video, and I'll catch you guys next time.